everybody, in this video I'm going to be comparing single family rentals versus multifamily commercial rentals. So when people want to get into real estate, 9 times out of 10 they think of getting to the point where they're able to purchase a second home and then able to go out and rent that second home out to some tenants. And they want to charge them a little bit more than what the mortgage payment on that house is and kind of just rake in that extra profit. Some of the issues with this is that you are banking all on just one family. You never know how good of an employee that tenant is, whether they are on the verge of getting fired or where the company lies that individual works for, whether that's a strong company, whether that's a company that could file bankruptcy. For example, my dad has worked for Chrysler for over 35 years. He's worked for Chrysler since he was 17 years old and he is now in his mid-50s. With their transition to EVs, to electric vehicles, it's a very expensive transition. Being the fact that he lives in Illinois, property taxes are very high in Illinois. So Chrysler decided just to shut down all of their factories in the state of Illinois, and they're moving those factories to different states, I think states like Texas and Florida. And so because of that, he lost his job. And there are so many families out there in the United States that are blue collar workers where they could get let go just like that. And now with AI, you never know what type of technology could just come out of nowhere, or how an industry like the car industry could go from a transition of a conventional combustion engine to transferring to EV. Those are all things that are out of your control. And also the reality is that it's extremely hard and it takes a long time to scale multifamily real estate portfolios versus a commercial multifamily portfolio. What you're able to do is just purchase one apartment building for 100 units, and now you're extremely diversified and your portfolio quite literally just went from 0 to 100. Now, another thing with the single family and the multifamily space, risk is a huge thing, right? Your tenants, whether or not they're gonna actually stay there and pay down your mortgage or pay the rent to cover the mortgage. With a 100-unit apartment complex, we could have 10 people move out all on the exact same day and we're still gonna be in the green. And that is very helpful for our risk mitigation. Another thing to touch on is just the actual act of being a landlord. You have to ask yourself, do you want to be a landlord or do you want to be a real estate investor? Because if you are going to be in the single family real estate sector, then you are going to be a landlord, which is another full-time job. Even if you outsource and hire a property management company, you're still literally going to be a landlord and you are still going to deal with headaches. There's a saying, termites, toilets, and tenants. Those are the 3 things that are just going to give you a huge headache and is just going to make being a landlord not fun. If you passively invest in commercial multifamily real estate in one of our syndication deals, we as the operators, we are professionals. Think of it as you taking a commercial airline flight. You are trusting the professionals, the flight attendants, the pilots, all of the engineers. You are trusting that these professionals are going to take care of all the operations around the flight. You are not an individual who wants to take the time to learn about flying, who wants to take the time and spend money to actually take classes on to be a pilot. You don't want to be the one who actually has to fly the plane. You don't want to be the one where when things happen, you have to think quick on your toes and fix those things. This is exactly what real estate syndication is. You are an individual who just passively invests. You are the passenger. You are simply just handing over your money to the operators and they are professionals. This is all they do. Here at Rush Capital Partners, we are the operators. We run everything that has to do with the property. We take care of everything with the property. We simply are just making sure that this property works as smoothly and produces as much cash flow and produces as much income as possible because the more income that this property produces, the more money we make, and the more money that we make for our investors. And so mainly what we do is we help busy professionals allocate their capital into income producing assets. And in this case, what we focus on, what we hyper focus on, is commercial multifamily real estate, 100 units plus. Most of our deals are anywhere from $25 million to $50 million. And so what we specialize in is we specialize in very high-end, large commercial real estate apartment buildings that are literal just money printers. That's essentially what they are. We are the individuals who qualify for these loans, and our tenants are paying down the loan for us. We're not even paying down the loan. Another thing that we want to do as the operators is we want to not only, at a bare minimum, give all your money back to you, but we are looking to double and even triple your money so that you continue to come back and invest with us for many, many, many years to come. We want to build a long-lasting relationship with you. We never want any investor to just invest with us once. We want you to be a long-time family friend and investor. So when you are thinking about investing in real estate, really ask yourself, do you want to be a passive real estate investor, or do you want to just be a landlord? Another thing to keep in mind is how the actual value of the properties are calculated. The value of your home is based on the comparables. Similar houses in your area, what did they recently just sell for? Now, the really scary and risky thing about that is if you have that one house in your neighborhood that's just a super rundown house. You have to understand that house is dragging down the value of your home, because the value of your home is based on the value of all the other homes around you. Especially when things happen like 2008, when all these families are foreclosing on homes. Just like right now in the market, just like I mentioned the story of my dad, how he got laid off. People are losing their jobs, people are getting laid off, people's jobs are getting replaced by tech. And because of that, they're not able to afford their mortgages anymore, and then they're defaulting on those loans, and those homes are now going into foreclosure. And obviously the banks just want to get rid of that house, so they're going to sell that house for pennies on the dollar. And when that house sells at an under market value price, that's bringing down the value of your home. Again, that is completely out of your control. The really neat thing about commercial multifamily real estate is that the value of the property is purely based on the cash flow. It's purely based on how much money this property makes. We have a ton of value adds that we already know that we're gonna implement into a property before we even purchase the property. And we always buy properties where the actual rents of the property are below market rent. So 99% of the time when we purchase a property, we're walking into equity, because all we have to do is just bump the rents up to what the market rent value is. And again, if you have a 100 unit property, and let's just say all the rents in the property are under market value by $200, you take 200, you multiply that by 100 units, and then obviously these individuals are going to be paying rent every single month. So then you take that number and then you multiply it by 12, and then you get that end number. And just by purchasing the property and increasing rents, we just made an extra X amount of dollars on that property. We could literally sell after 12 months and show that when the property was making this much compared to now the property is making this much, now we can sell the property for a percentage of that actual NOI, which is the net operating income. That's all I got for you guys on this video. I hope that you were able to get some takeaways from that and you're able to learn something. If you are interested in actually being a passive investor in commercial multifamily real estate, I invite you to click the link down below, check out our website, check out our track record, book an introduction call with me. I'd love to get to know you. I'd love to kind of get a better idea of what your financial goals are, what your investing goals are, and we can really kind of talk about whether or not that passive investing with us would work for you. And I could also go over any potential offerings that we have available currently for you to invest in.